Good afternoon, everyone. Hope all is well. So, back on the live session again. I know I've been away for a few days of last week during this live sessions, but we're back and hopefully we're going to carry on the way we do. So, we are now going to go live with a property finance broker, short-term finance, bridging finance, auction finance. We are going to be talking about all of that with Kirsty Rogers, who's going to be joining me right now. Um, and we're going to be discussing what's the market like, how is it currently during this whole pandemic, and discuss various options of how property developers and property owners are looking at it. Hello.
Hello.
How are you, Kirsty?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. All is well. Thank you so much for joining me today on this live to share the knowledge and spread the positivity of whatever field you're in. Like we discussed, you're in the bridging finance and property auction finance, short-term finance, all of that sort of stuff that we're going to be discussing it with the property sector, how it's been for you and how are you looking at the market. So thank you so much for joining me today.
No problem.
So Kirsty, before we move forward with the conversation, if you can introduce yourself as to who you are and what you do. I mean, I've already given the introduction, but please go ahead.
So I work for Together Commercial Finance. We are based in Cheadle, but we are a national property lender. Predominantly, we do mainly lend on short-term finance, but we lend on any type of property, any condition, anywhere in the UK. I've been with Together for nearly 4 years, but it feels like much longer. I feel like part of the furniture. Great company to work for. This is my 5th week back from being on furlough because we ceased lending for a little while because we were concentrating on current pipeline, making sure current clients got their money, fast.
Yep.
Especially if they were in contracts and things like that. So yeah, it's been really good.
And currently, I guess you're working from home.
I am. So I've been cleared to go into the office on Thursday. So I'm going to pop into the office for a bit of normality on Thursday. But I'm looking forward to it, to be honest, getting out the house.
Super. So, Kirsty, before we move forward, I ask this to all my guests that come on here. When we were growing up as kids and we see a lot of careers in front of us, like our parents or family members or, uncles, aunties, going through careers of being an architect, a doctor, an engineer, a builder, a constructor, property developer, whatever it may be. Did you aspire to be one of those careers one day, or were you always into this sort of finance-driven aspirational career that you're in currently?
To a degree, but I wanted to be a solicitor, funnily enough. But I realised the amount of man hours involved in becoming a solicitor, and it would have been far too much hard work for me. I wanted to get straight into working, which I have done since I was young. But I've been in the finance sector for about 7-8 years now. Working in different angles. I worked for a broker for a little while. That was really interesting, getting to know all the different lenders, what people offered and things like that. But I think I've found me home together, and I can't really see me going anywhere anytime soon.
So why was it that you sort of decided to get into finance and not into soliciting? What sort of, I mean, you mentioned that it was a lot of hard work, but why did you decide to go to the finance route?
Because I just found it interesting to to work with people. I like working with people mainly.
Okay.
And I come across all different people, all walks of life. I deal with solicitors, accountants, surveyors, investors, landlords.
I mean, property finance is one of those sectors, right, that you deal with everyone. You have to answer
Yeah.
when it comes to a property deal. You have to answer to everyone, like
Yeah.
the buyer, the solicitor, the surveyor.
Yeah.
You know, it goes throughout. So, did you get to do any qualifications to get into financing? I mean, what did you have to do to put your foot?
It was really funny. I seen the job advertised on LinkedIn, and I've worked as a business development manager for, as I say, 7-8 years now. And I thought it'd be a really good industry to get into. Everyone likes money. Everyone wants it.
Of course. Everyone wants free money, right?
Exactly. So I thought I'll put my CV in and see how I get on. And I went in, met with my previous line manager. He's moved on now. He's moved to Cyprus.
Okay.
Met him, got on really well with him. They brought me back for an interview, and they offered me the job there and then on my second interview. So
Wow.
I was really pleased to be working for a company as large and as successful as Together.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. So, coming back to finance now, I mean, you've been in the industry for about 7 to 8 years, and within this company for the last 4 years. How has it been? How has the market been for you throughout these many years that you've been here? And are you seeing a difference right now, currently, in the current market that we're in, with people being on furlough? How's it been? How was it before this whole pandemic sort of happened for you?
So from our point of view, we've changed the criteria, not too drastically, but we obviously take things into account. So if a client's coming to us and they want to buy a pub or they want to buy offices, we need to understand a little bit more about what their end game is. If they've got an end user, are they going to be the end user? So we need to understand it a little bit more. If they're on furlough, we need to understand that we're not putting them in any financial difficulty. So we've changed the criteria to meet, the current climate. In terms of loan to value, we've dropped it slightly. So whereas we used to be 75% on a residential purchase, we are 70% on a residential purchase.
That's not bad.
It's not.
I mean, I've spoken to quite a few lenders who possibly dropped it down to like 10-15%. So
yeah.
Just from 75 to 70 is not bad, I guess.
No,
and is that for UK nationals or overseas nationals as well?
As long as the property is based in the UK and they've got a UK solicitor acting in a UK bank account, we're fine. If they're non-UK residents, it's not an issue at all. It doesn't make any difference to the rate. Doesn't make any difference to how much we're lending on the property, because we're looking at the property based on its own merit and not so much the applicant.
So you don't look at the individual as much as you look at the property.
Exactly, because ultimately our security is that property.
Of course.
So that's on the bridging side. And
do you always go for the first charge, or would you even take second charges on properties?
So we look at both. So on bridging, we go up on a first charge, we go up to 70% on residential on a purchase, and we are 65% on semi-commercial and commercial. If we're going behind a first charge, so we're sitting second, then we're usually around the 65% mark on residential, and the 50% mark on semi-commercial and commercial. So if there's plenty of equity in there, we're happy to take a second charge. That's not an issue.
And you mentioned that your company is currently, should I say, easy in looking at individuals when they come to buy properties from you. Has this always been the case, or just now that you've turned this around sort of to get more and more lending through?
No. We've always been, our USP is fast and flexible finance. That's what we do. People come to us not because we're the cheapest. We're not the most expensive, but we're not the most cheapest, but we're the easiest to deal with. And we're very, very quick at what we do. We get, well, you know, pre-coronavirus, we attended roughly between the team around 300 auctions a year.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. But that's what we, you know, that's what we like to do. We like to assist people to achieve their goals. So if they went to auction, they seen a property and they couldn't get, you know, a typical mortgage on it. It might be poor condition. They might not be able to secure the finance within the usual 28 days. People would look to us to assist in the interim, and they was either buy the property using our finance and then refurbish it and sell it on, or they would buy, refurbish, and then refinance at a later date and then pay us off.
Do you cover the, like, let's say if someone's gone to the auction and bought a rundown property, you know, it'd be a 1-bed or a 5-bedroom house, whatever it is. Do you just cover the cost to buy the property, or you also lend them in terms of refurbishing, development?
We can do both. So usually we're just assisting with the purchase. So again, typically 5 bedrooms house. We lend up to 70% of the purchase, and the client would usually have 30% and then plus the refurb to put in themselves. Or alternatively, what some clients do, we're finding a lot of people are asset rich rather than cash rich. So if you've got a portfolio of properties or a property that has either got no mortgage on or it's got a ton of equity in, we will help with the purchase, but also take a charge on the existing owned property to secure them more funding to either help with the deposit or help with the deposit and the refurbishment. So there's all different ways of doing it, and
so you can accommodate everything that anyone wants with it.
Yeah, we try to accommodate where possible.
Even if they don't have enough, like let's say it's a first time, I wouldn't say a first time buyer, but let's say it's a first time developer or getting into the property industry to set up their development, refurbishment company, whatever it is. And this is their first property that they're going to buy to develop. A lot of lenders don't lend because they possibly don't have the experience to go out and develop, but yet they have the right intention to go out and develop the property, and they have the know-how of how to do it. Would you look at that? I mean,
yeah,
or
absolutely.
you ask for experience?
You know, you've got to start somewhere. How can you ask somebody for experience if they can't get the money to do the first one? So don't get me wrong. We might ask a couple more questions if it's the first. You know, are you doing any of the work yourself? Are you getting somebody in to do the actual refurbishment work?
Yeah.
You know, and 9 times out of 10, they are. Or if they're not, they've usually got a trade themselves. So, I don't know, electrician, plumber, builder. You know, most people will start off, you know, helping other people do, you know, buy, refurb and sell on. And they think, hang on, you know, I want to do this. I want to start it myself.
And you look at that and so that sort of, any sort of building work experience counts when it comes to lending from yourselves.
Definitely.
And how quick can someone get an answer from you guys? Like pre-COVID, what was the criteria? I mean, how much time did you have to take to get
be
on?
Honest, yeah, usually if they send me the property, so if it's an auction property or it's up for sale somewhere, I'll usually be able to tell them straight away how much we can lend on it.
Without even seeing their bank balance or criteria or anything?
No, just solely on the property. Okay. I'll be able to tell them what we can lend on it. Obviously, if they do want to go ahead with it, that's when we'll start doing credit checks. But as long as we don't like mortgage arrears, so if they've got no mortgage arrears, or you know, maybe they've missed paying a gas bill a year ago, it wouldn't usually be an issue.
Okay. You mentioned that you're experienced in the short-term bridging finance. Has your company also looked at long-term finance?
Yeah, so we do offer both. So predominantly,
I mean, when it comes to bridging finance, a lot of people think that, oh, it's 2 to 3 months or maybe 6 months. you know, but do you go out and give them like a 12-month loan or an 18-month or
so
2 years?
all of our loans short term are up for up to 12 months.
Okay.
But you can repay the loan at any point.
Okay. And is there like a penalty if someone pays it earlier?
Yeah. So, no,
Okay.
there's no penalty for paying earlier. There's only a penalty if you go over your 12-month term.
Got you. We've got a question here from H Money Living Legend that CCJs, how would that affect someone's credibility in terms of getting finance from your company?
It would all depend on what the CCJ was for, and when if it was satisfied and when it was satisfied. So, you know, again, if it was for, you know, a mobile phone bill or a gas or electric bill that, you know, you'd moved out the property and forgotten about, it wouldn't be an issue.
And what if it's a default on a mortgage?
If it's a default on a mortgage, we'd need, again, it's not a no straight away. We'd need to understand why they defaulted and how long they've now been up to date for.
Okay, got you. So, honey, H Money, you've got your answer there. If you're looking for a short-term finance, do get in touch with Kirsty Rogers. So, how has it been right now during lockdown? I mean, starting from, I'm sure when it came to the beginning of 2020, everyone was like hyped up, you know, it's the year, we're going to do it. Bridging companies, financial companies, they started lending out, but then we hit COVID, we hit a barrier, we hit lockdown. How has it been getting up to the lockdown, and how has it been after the lockdown and during this pandemic for you guys?
So for me personally, I got furloughed around Easter time.
Okay.
And it was hard because we were so busy. So, you know, we were lending typically about £150 million a month. Wow. So it's a lot, you know, so to sort of have to take a step back from that.
And that was nationally, right?
Nationally, yeah, throughout the UK. So for us to take a step back from that, it was a difficult decision, but we felt it was the right decision because we wanted to cater for the clients we already had applications in for. We had to obviously monitor the arrears, people not paying and things like that. We needed to understand.
That's what I wanted to get at. How has it been with those arrears? I mean, a lot of people, let's say investors or property developers are waiting for repossessions to happen. How is it? Are you guys looking at that where, let's say, someone's not paying or they are running into difficulty of paying you guys? Are you sort of sending them notices to pay up, or
what we're doing is we're trying to communicate with those clients. So what we don't want to do is put anyone in a difficult position. We don't want to be repossessing properties. We want to be working with those clients to get the best possible outcome for both of us. So we're not covered like the bank are. We can't just give payment holidays out. It's different for our funding lines. But what we have done is we've looked at everybody's different situation and we've either come up with a payment plan or we've reduced the payment for a certain period of time for them to be.
So if someone has to pay £1,000 and if they call you up and they're running into difficulty, they could possibly bring that down to maybe half or you know, or quarter or something like that.
But in all honesty, our arrears rate is nowhere near as bad as we initially thought, and that's
what did you initially think? What did you get? What did you think?
We didn't have a figure in mind, to be honest. It was more like a percentage, because the first few days of the lockdown, it was quite worrying. You know, obviously direct debits cancelling, a lot of phone calls being had to the office that, you know, we never used to have. So it was quite worrying at first, but because of the communication we've had with the clients, and hopefully they feel the same way, we've looked at everybody's individual circumstances, and the clients that did genuinely need help, we've helped, and hopefully we'll get them back on track soon enough. But yeah, I mean, from our point of view now, we haven't opened the floodgates. We've restricted a lot of, other avenues of business, and we're only really looking to get direct business at the moment. So just clients calling us up or approaching us. We used to deal with a lot of brokers. We've reduced the amount of broker business we're doing at the moment because, like every business, we're refocusing our strategy, and we're relooking at everything going forward. But in terms of, it's still really busy, especially from my point of view. I've got a lot of serious investors that deal with me, really good clients and friends, and they're seeing it as an opportunity.
Wow, that's about that. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, fine now. Yeah,
Cool.
Thanks.
So, which are the auctions that you go to? I mean, the big four names that I can think of, or the big three names that I can think of, are Bernard Marcus, Allsops, Savills. Knight Frank has started their auctions with SDL auctions. Can someone find you there or at those big auctions? Or
Barnard Marcus we attend all the time. SDL auctions, we go to every single SDL auction. National Auction House, the Auction House franchise.
Yep.
We attend Allsops and Savills, but only in a friendly capacity. We haven't got we go and see clients there and have meetings with them, because again, a lot of our clients buy at auctions, so we'll go there to sort of show our face, but we're not there in an official capacity. But just because if you don't spot us at an auction, it doesn't mean
you're not there.
We won't help. Yeah, it doesn't mean we won't help. Again, it doesn't have to be an auction purchase. We can assist with any type of new purchase, whether that be online, auction, estate agent, private. It doesn't make any difference to us. We can assist.
And as an agent, I would like to ask you this. I mean, firstly, what I wanted to ask you is that when you go to an auction, do you have to pay them some sort of fees that you're standing there with your banner, your desk, whatever it is, and you're helping people out with bridging finance? Do you have to pay them a fee?
Yeah, so some auction houses, we will pay them a fee to advertise in their catalogue and to go to their auction. Some of them we have exclusivity arrangements with them, so we're the only lender there. So we have different arrangements to cater that particular auction house.
And as a real estate agent, what I wanted to get at is that what sort of fees do you pay through referrals that, or let's say I bring a client to you, what sort of fees do you pay out?
So any referrals that you make to us and we complete on, we will pay you 50% of the arrangement fee and all standard. Yeah, so it can be beneficial.
Really good. I mean, I've heard lenders coming up saying we'll pay you 10% or we'll pay you 20%. I've never heard 50%, but that's amazing.
Yeah, 50% of the arrangement fee. That's just standard for us.
That's super. But thank you so much for coming on here, sharing all that knowledge with me, with the world today. And this live will be posted now, but it will be removed and re-edited again and posted again. Before you go, Kirsty, I ask this to all my guests that come on here. We've gone through a lot of, we thought 2020 was going to be a real positive year, but then we hit all of this that happened to us, and obviously a lot of negative sentiment around us. What sort of positive advice would you like to share with the world today so that they can take that positive advice that you're giving on board and move forward in life?
I'd say don't let it stop you achieving your goal. From my point of view, it was a bump in the road. It's affected everyone differently, but it's how you deal with it that's going to count going forward. Absolutely.
But thank you so much for coming on here. It's been a pleasure speaking to you, talking to you, knowing more about short-term finance, bridging finance, and auction finance. And hopefully I'll be in touch with some of my investors soon.
Yeah, if you've got any questions, just give me a shout. I'd be happy to help.
Super. Thank you so much, Kirsty.
Take care. Thanks.
Take care. All right. So that was Kirsty Rogers, who deals with short-term finance, bridging finance, auction finance. If you're interested and you're a property developer, property investor, and you're looking for a short-term finance to get to transact on a property, get in touch with Kirsty Rogers, and I'm sure she will be able to help you out with whatever the inquiry is. Thank you so much to Kirsty for joining me. Thank you to all the viewers that tuned in. It's a pleasure to have you on, and I shall see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.